Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this mobile trading floor markets update for Tuesday, the 17th of January. Let's have a look at the news first of all. In the news today, we have movement early morning on British pound. So we've got CPI and we've also got Mervyn King speaking for Bank of England. These two events often bring about price fluctuations, so we'll see what happens. We've also got heavy news on the euro, and later on during the day we've got important news on the Canadian dollar. Nothing major USD related, so GBP and Canadian dollar are the ones to look out for. Obviously, German economic statement, given the power that Germany has within the euro, then that's likely to have an effect as well. Moving forward to look at Wednesday, again we've got some stuff on pound happening in the morning, and then some stuff on USD and Canadian dollar. So not a hugely volatile day, but still some bits and pieces to watch out for. So let's have a look at the markets themselves. So looking at euro dollar first of all, and we're on the daily chart. As we can see, euro dollar is still in a downtrend. We are looking for it to obey its horizontal support and resistance, move along, and then interact with this trend line, which we believe will then kick off a downward movement. Obviously that's if it doesn't break the trend line, because that's always possible as well. But we'll be looking for some action when price action tends to get here, either a breakout or a bounce. A bounce is more likely given the fact that, as we can see by the fib cloud, the currency pair is down trending. Having a looking at sterling now, again we're looking at a downtrend. We can see that the fib cloud is downtrending. We have a line here which is obviously connecting our high points. As we can see, we'd be waiting for price to move back into the range whereby cyclicity would be viable, i.e. if it's in a downtrend we want to be going down with it, so we'd want to wait for it to come up and bounce, preferably off a combination of a support and resistance level and a trend line, because these provide the strongest areas of movement and give you the most opportunity for profit. Having a look at Swissy, again, same thing applies. We're in an uptrend at this time. As we can see, the fib cloud is trending upwards quite nicely. We have bounces off the trend line here, and we'd be looking for a touch, preferably on a point of horizontal support and resistance, and then we'd be looking to go north with that one. USD JPY, if we just zoom in on this one. Again, we're not entirely sure what's going to happen here. This is at the lowest point that it's been pretty much since 1990. There is another floor to the market. If we have a look, you've got a floor there. When it hits the line here, we're either going to be seeing a southward breakout or a northward move. Not exactly rocket science, but what we're trying to say is that it's going to go one way or the other. Given the fact that it's at its lowest point, it's quite hard for us to work out where it would go next. So we shall see. Aussie dollar next. As we can see over the last day or so, that's actually hit the support line, hit the trend line, in correspondence to around a zone of support and resistance, and that is now heading north. So if you watched our update last week, hopefully you'd have been flagged up to that one. Let's have a look at Euro JPY. Again, this is downtrending. We'd be looking for a move back to trend line support and resistance. Euro GBP, this appears to be breaking its trend line slightly. What we'll do is wait for further price action to see if we can establish where exactly the trend line should be drawn, because we need to know whether or not this is either a high point, or this area here is simply a low point and shouldn't actually be included in our trend. As we can see, there's actually quite a nice example of tweezer tops there as well, so that would signify that there should be movement south. Moving on to our next pair, we're looking at Swissy yen. Again, this is downtrending. We'll be looking for support and resistance levels and trend lines to coincide to see a move south. Pound Swiss, we've got a break of the trend line. Again, we're looking at a fairly solid uptrend. The fib cloud is quite happy in its current arrangement. So we'll be looking to see if this is actually a trend breaker or if in fact it then resumes and it's simply a trend aberration. GBP NZD, pound versus New Zealand dollar. This has quite clearly broken its trend line, so if we actually look, you've pretty much got, even though it should actually belong at the top of the formation, there is a head and shoulders there, as we can see. In fact, it's actually quite a nice head and shoulders from the point of view of if we look at the neckline across here, if I just draw a line on the chart. So the way that you normally work a head and shoulders is you calculate the distance between the peak and the neckline, which joins the two V's, is then the distance travelled, and as we can see, that's pretty much paid out here. It's gone down and it's now sitting on the this level of horizontal support and resistance. There are a few levels below that, as we can see indicated by price action previously, so we'll see which direction that goes in. And we're also looking at Australian dollar versus the Canadian dollar. As we can see, this is in what we would consider to be a fairly early uptrend. The fib cloud is only just forming itself here, so it could well go in any direction. We'll see what happens when this hits its trend line. Again, if it hits a trend line in a comparison with an area of support and resistance, then we should be confident looking to see a move. That brings us to the end of the update for today. So the thing to do is obviously make sure that we're looking for a horizontal support and resistance, looking at our trend lines, and obviously looking for candle patterns on slightly smaller time frames to give us entry and exit signals. If you'd like more information about how to trade, then visit our Trading and Resource Centre at mobiletradingfloor.net. But for now, this is Mobile Trading Floor signing off.